Medical Summer is back. Our all-inclusive summer tour of UK healthcare includes IELTS or OET for all healthcare professionals who need language training. Then if you're a doctor, you can learn about a GMC PLAB. If you're a nurse or midwife, you can learn about NMC, CBT and OSCE. We'll even throw in a few social events too, so you can experience the very best that UK cities have to offer. Starting with our hometown here in London. Medics, our medical summer is a great experience and chance for you to meet other healthcare professionals from all over the world. What are you waiting for? Make summer 2022 in the UK your best one yet. Visit www.medicalsummer.com or call 0203 637 6722 today.
So I realized that people are really clueless when it comes to the process of relocating to the UK as a healthcare assistant or as a senior carer. I get people asking me very, very funny questions like, Nanelle, so do I have to write CBT to become a senior carer? Do I have to write CBT to become a healthcare assistant? Okay, so what's the step-by-step approach? What do I do first? So what's the certificate of sponsorship? Does the certificate of sponsorship mean that myself and my husband and my dependent, the employer is going to pay for our flights and everything? People are just clueless. They know nothing about this. So I decided that I am going to show you in 10 simple steps, from the very beginning to when you get to the UK. I'm going to take you through exactly what you have to do at each stage. I have grouped them into 10 steps. I'm going to show you what to do, what not to do, at which stage you can quit your job back up, when to do this, when not to do this, when you need a police clearance, when not to do police clearance. I'll talk about how long the entire process can averagely take, like the duration, how long the whole process can take, every single thing. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Said it before. Hey, stop that. Hi, I'm just going to go straight to the point. I'm going to give you 10 steps. So the first stage of the process is the gathering of documents stage. So the first stage, you'll be gathering documents. Over here, you have to gather all the necessary documents that may be required of you to produce in the process, okay? So the first one is a valid passport. If you don't have a passport and you started looking for jobs, you're joking. You are really joking. Get a passport, guys. The application process for getting a passport differs in various countries. So find out about your country, how you can apply for a passport, and then get a passport. And if you already have a passport, please check that the passport is not expiring soon. It should have at least 6 months validity period, okay? If yours is expiring soon, I would advise that you renew it before you start the process. And also, if you're the kind of person that travels a lot and you have all the pages in your passport stamped, please make sure you renew it. You get a new one before you start the process, because you need at least one front and back blank page in the passport. You understand? It doesn't have to be all covered in stamps. They will not get a place to put your visa once you get the job, once you get a visa to come. So please make sure you have at least one blank page, okay? If you've traveled in the past with an old passport, you can also add this passport to it as well, okay? Attach it together before you start the process. The second document you have to gather is your birth certificate. You may be required to produce your birth certificate either during the visa application process, or maybe an employer may ask you to provide your birth certificate, so you need one. And some people don't have birth certificates. It's very strange, but it's true. So please get a birth certificate, or if yours is missing, go to the appropriate body to apply for a new one. And make sure that the name and the date of birth on your passport tallies with that of the birth cert, okay? So if you have a birth cert that has a different name from your name on your passport, kindly do swear an affidavit to correct all that. But let's say if your passport is with your maiden name and then you've recently got married, that is not a problem. If marriage is the reason why your name has changed, that is not a problem, because you can prove that with a marriage certificate. So that is not a problem at all. Talking about those that have different names, and let's say they have 2 names on their passport but they have 3 names in their birth cert, please make sure that tallies. And the next document I'll say is a driver's license. One of the ways that people are migrating to the UK is to work as domiciliary care workers. So if you're a domiciliary carer, you are a healthcare assistant, but with your job, you'll be going from home to home of your client or of your service users to provide care for them in their home. This is different from working in a care home. A care home is a building where the residents are there. So when you go to work, then you take care of them in the home or in that building. But for domiciliary care, you go from house A to take care of the lady there. You go to house B to take care of the old man there. So for that one, a car might be needed. You would need a driver's license. If there's the kind of job that you're applying applying for, most of the employers require that you have a driver's license. So I would add that to the documents. If you want to be a domiciliary care worker, please do get your driver's license, because what happens is that if you come to the UK with a driver's license from your country, you can use your country's driver's license in the UK for 1 year from the day you became a resident in the UK. You only have to make sure that before the year ends, you get the UK license. If you have a license from some particular countries, you don't even need to do any exam when you get here. You can automatically switch. I'll list those countries in the description. You can check it out. So passport, birth certificate, driver's license, and your school certificate. So you may need to prove your qualification to your employer. They may ask for your school certificate. I know that some people have finished university in so many years, but they haven't really gone for their school certificates yet. So at this point, maybe think about it, go for it, attach it to your document. Okay, so that's step 1. Now let's go to step 2. If you're coming to the UK to work, you need to prove that you're proficient in English. I always say this in my videos. If you're from an English speaking country, you don't need to prove this. Somebody sent me a message saying that, no, I'm from an English speaking country. I'm from Nigeria, which is an English speaking country. Do I still have to write IELTS? My God, please. The UK does not consider Nigeria as an English speaking country. I know Nigerians can speak very good English. In fact, Nigeria is a country that somebody by the road selling suya would know how to speak English, because Nigerians love to speak pidgin, and pidgin is broken English. So I understand that you can speak English, you're Nigerian, but the UK does not consider your country as an English speaking country. Please, I will list the countries that the UK considers English speaking country. I'll list those countries in the description. If you're from those countries, fine, you can skip the IELTS or you can skip the English proficiency exams. But if you are not from any of these countries, please, you would have to write IELTS. I have a video where I spoke about other alternatives to the IELTS, and I have a video where I spoke about the specific type of IELTS that you have to write if you come to the UK to work as a senior carer. So you can check those videos out. But let me briefly explain. If you're not from an English speaking country, you need to write an IELTS UKVI exam, whether general or academic. Okay, that's for short, but watch that video for more details. Hopefully you get the required score, that is at least band 4 for the carer jobs. All those some employers want band 5 or about 5.5. And there's also an exam called a PTA exam that you can also write. If you have a degree or a higher qualification like a master's or a PhD, you can also apply for a NARIC certificate. I've explained all that. So step 2, you'll be writing your IELTS to prove your English, and then you also have to get a care certificate. Okay, even if you're a nurse, you can go ahead and do the care certificate, although it's not needed. If you're a nurse already, you should have the basic nursing knowledge, so you don't really need the care certificate courses. But some employers are making this a big deal. They want the applicants to do the care certificate courses. Please, after you've written your IELTS and then you've gotten the required score, consider doing the care certificate courses online to get the certificates you need. Also, if you don't have any experience at this point, in step 2, I'll say do some volunteer work. Okay, volunteer in a hospital, volunteer as a care assistant in any health facility, so you can get the needed experience. I have already done a video where I showed you how to write a letter to request to volunteer in a hospital. So in step 2, please get your IELTS certificates, as if you're not from an English speaking country, or your PTE or your NARIC, and then do the care certificate courses and then volunteer as well. So that's for step 2. Step 3. So step 3 is the CV and cover letter stage. Okay, so here you have to prepare a good CV specific to the job you're applying for, and then prepare a good cover letter. I already have a video on how to write a CV if you don't have any health qualification, and how to write a CV if you already have a health qualification. I have that already. I'm preparing a video on how to write a good cover letter. So guys, watch those videos. But in step 3, you prepare a good CV and then you prepare a good cover letter as well. Now let's go to step 4. So step 4 is the most difficult of all the steps in the entire process. Step 4 is the job search stage. This is the most difficult in the entire process because it's not easy. I keep saying this. You would have to apply aggressively to as many jobs as you can find. Okay, I'm preparing a video on top websites that you can find care jobs in the UK, so stay tuned for it. Hit the notification so that when I upload, you see that video and then you can watch that video. So guys, step 4 will determine how long your process will take. If you're fortunate and then you get a job early, that means the rest of the process is going to go fast. So that's it. And if you are not fortunate and you have to apply a few more times, that's what's going to delay the entire process. So step 4 is the most important. You have to know all the job sites. I keep mentioning all the job sites in my videos anyway, so if you are a regular viewer of videos on this channel, you know some of the sites already. And follow my YouTube. I'm always posting vacancies that I come across, and then hopefully you have a good CV that can push you to the next stage. Okay, so for step 4 as well, if you're not from a red listed country, you can use agencies, okay, to assist you in the process. If you're from a red listed country, you only have to apply apply directly to the company or to the trust. Okay, so now let's say you apply for the job in step 4 and then you got the job. So now step 5. So step 5 is a job interview stage. So here, if your CV impresses the employer, they'll pass it on for an interview. So they'll give you a date, and then this interview will be held through Zoom or through Skype or through a WhatsApp video call, Google Meet or whatever. So they're going to have an interview, and then you have to impress them during the interview. So that is the 5th stage. So if you are being recruited by an agency, that's if you're not from a red listed country, they may have their own interview with you. The recruiters or the agency would have their own interview with you to make sure that you are ready, and then they'll pass you on to the employer. So it depends. If you're applying directly, usually just one interview you're going to have. However, some employers also will make you do a quick quiz, find out whether you really have the knowledge about care or social care as you claim you have. So also in step 5, after you have passed the interview, they will give you an offer letter, what they have to offer you, and then they will also give you your contract. Please be very careful when you're going through the contract. Have a look at the contract, see if it's nothing too tough. Let's say you're a nurse and then you're only thinking of coming to do this for 1 year, and then you move to becoming a nurse, and let's say the contract that you get is tying you for 3 years, and they say if you leave before the 3 years you're going to pay, let's say, £5,000. You know that job is not for you, because the contract does not favor you based on the plans that you have when you get to the UK. So have a look at the offer critically and have a look at the contract critically before you append your signature, because a contract is a legally binding document. So do not append your signature because you're desperate when you know that you don't like the contract, or when you know that when you come you are only planning of working for them for 1 year, especially knowing that the clause is £5,000 and you know that it's unrealistic to be able to pay that money to them in 1 year. So think about it. Look at your contract critically. So that is step 5. Step 6 is the employment check stage. Okay, here the employer, let's say you did the interview, you impressed them, so now they are going to do employment checks. That's by law what they are supposed to do. They have to make sure that you are not a criminal. They have to make sure that you are the right person for the job. So they'll be asking for references, and over here sometimes it's good if you have a reference in the health sector, and they can also ask for police clearance to be sure. Though you need a police clearance for your visa application, some employers will ask that you do it at that stage so that they know that you don't have any criminal record back home, because they don't want to give you a COS when you are a serial killer back in your country. You understand? Some of them will ask you to do your police clearance at this stage, and then some of them will also ask you to do a DBS, that's a police check in the UK as well. They can ask you to give them a medical report to know that you don't have any disease that can impair you from working. At this stage, let me just say that do not lie. Just let them know ahead of time. It is not going to hinder you from getting a job, honestly, but it's just something that they know so they can keep record of it. Okay, and then also know that your data is always protected. They can give you a lot of forms to fill. Sometimes they can ask you to fill forms about your size for your uniform and then all that. They can also ask for your school certificates, your other qualifications, to know that whatever you stated in your CV was true. So here the employer has to do all these checks to know that you're a genuine person. They can ask for your proof of address from back home. Some of them can even also ask you to prove that you have really passed the IELTS. Some of them can ask to see the care certificate courses to know that it is really CPD accredited. This is the time where the employer asks for so many documents. Okay, so depending on how fast you are, this part can also take a while. Now let's go to step 7. So step 7 is the sponsorship and the visa stage. So in step 7, the employer is going to give you something called a COS. Okay, COS means certificate of sponsorship. Okay, it comes in the form of a document, but it's actually just a unique reference number on that document. That is the most important thing. So the COS is going to show you how long your visa or the contract is going to last for, how much you'll be earning annually. There's a part called maintenance. The employer is going to take whether they are going to certify maintenance for you and then your dependent. So if the employer takes this part, when you're applying for the visa, you don't need to prove that you have money in your bank account, because they have certified maintenance for you and your dependent. That means when you're coming, you don't need to prove any bank statements. When your dependents are coming, they don't need to prove bank statements as well. They are telling the UK Visas and Immigration or the Home Office that they'll take care of you for the first few months if need be. However, if your employer does not take this part, that is when you are coming, you need to prove that you have money in your account. Okay, I'll leave the figure on the screen so that you can check, and then I'll leave links in the description to the government.uk website so you can read it for yourself. When I was coming, I didn't have to show any money in my account. I didn't add any bank statements because my employer took this part for me. You understand? The entire process depends on this stage. This is the most important. And when you get to this stage and you get the COS, the case of sponsorship, I put on the screen how it looks like so that you can see. When you get on this stage, then you know that one foot is in the UK already. So you can resign your job from back home. But before then, do not resign. Even when you get an offer, sign a contract, whatever, do not quit your job. Only leave your job after you have gotten the certificate of sponsorship. And it is this document that you need to apply for your visa. I have a video where I spoke about documents that you need when you're applying for your health and care visa. I did it for nurses, but it's the same for carers as well because it's the same visa category. So let me briefly list what you need. So you need obviously your passport, a valid passport like I explained earlier, police clearance that is not expired. You need your tuberculosis certificate as well. You need your IELTS or your NARIC or whatever proves that you are proficient in English. You need the COS that's your employer gave you. That's the certificate of sponsorship, that document I just talked about. And then you need your offer letter from the employer. When they gave you the job, they obviously give you an offer letter where you endorse your signature. They need to see that as well. So the most exciting step is step 8. So step 8 is the flight and arrival stage. Oh, so here, depending on the contract that you have, some employers can decide to pay for your flights, and then when you come here, you work for them and then you pay them. They can also decide to pay for your visa application or not. So some of them will also say that pay everything yourself. We don't want any trouble. But at this stage, let me tell you, if it means going to borrow money from the bank, okay, to pay for your flights, to pay for your visa, to come to the UK, please do. Because you have the COs already. And then you are sure that you have a good job. And when you get here, because the UK's economy is good, the money that you be earning, be able to pay back the people that you owe, okay, or the money that you borrowed. Usually, they will come and meet you at the airport, or they'll take you to a temporary accommodation space. Please, when it comes to accommodation, find out from the employer before you bring your entire family, because usually it's a small place for you, the main applicant, alone. That is why it's advisable that you come alone, you find your way around, get a place before you bring the rest of the family on board. I'm not saying come and stay for 1 year before you bring your family. I'm just saying that for the first few weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, because you don't know the kind of accommodation that they are providing for you. People have come here and then the employers were specific, saying that I'm only providing accommodation for the main applicants. Our employee, your husband and your children can go somewhere, and it will be very devastating, because even if you are so rich in your country, I mean, paying for hotel bills in the UK every day, and it's not easy getting your first house in the UK. It's really not that easy. Getting your first accommodation in the UK is tough. You don't know whether it's going to take you 4 months to get a place, 3 months to get a place, 3 weeks to get a place. So I think you should come alone first and then bring them on board when you finally get a place. So when they come, they'll be so comfortable because you already got a place for them. You understand? In my opinion, that's my opinion. Okay. Step 9 is you doing the necessary things. I did a video where I mentioned 10 things that you should do when you get to the UK as an immigrant nurse or a doctor or a health worker. Watch that video. I mentioned 10 things because now you have arrived in the UK. You have to do all the necessary 10 things to make your life easier. I mentioned a few things like registering with a GP. In the UK, everybody has a doctor. You have to join RCN. I explained all these things in that video. So guys, I'll leave a link to that video. Watch that video to know all these 10 things that you have to do. And step 10 is, so the truth is, there's no step 10. It sounded weird to say 9 steps to become, 9 is an odd number. It doesn't really sound cool, so I decided to make it 10. So let's just say step 10 is that when you get to the UK, send me a message, Telegram and on Instagram, in my email, letting me know that you have arrived and the videos were helpful. And that's all it is. That's all I need. So that's step 10. Okay, so that's it. Let me just briefly go through. So you gather your documents, the necessary documents I mentioned earlier, like your passport, your birth certificate, your school qualifications, and then the driver's license if need be. Step 2 is write the necessary exams, the IELTS, UKVI or the PTE exams. You have to do the care certificate courses to boost your chances, and then you also have to do voluntary care work if you don't have experience in care. And step 3 is CV and cover letter stage. Make a good CV, specific to the job. Step 4 is the job search. Step 5 is the job interview stage. Pass the interview, you get an offer letter, you get a contract. You have to critically study the contract. 6 is the employment check stage, where the employer will ask for police clearance, medical report. They'll give you forms to fill, all those checks by the employer. Step 7 is the sponsorship and visa stage. They'll give you the most important documents in the entire process. That's the certificate of sponsorship. At this stage, you can quit your job. At this stage, you can stop looking for other jobs. Until then, don't stop looking for other jobs. Flight and arrival, based on your contracts, they can decide to pay for your flights or your visa and whatever you arrive in the UK. 9 is you do the necessary things that you have to do once you get to the UK. Register with a GP, join RCN, blah, 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 blah. And step 10, send me a message letting me know that that you've arrived in the UK. Let me congratulate you to the UK proper. Okay, so basically this whole thing, the duration of the process depends on the job search stage, and it also depends on, you know, how fast your employer books an interview with you and all that. But roughly, should everything go on well, it shouldn't take longer than 6 months. Okay, 3 to 6 months is fine. That's if you get a job early. Other than that, it can take anywhere about that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to know how to write a cover letter, if you want to know more about this entire process, top job sites to look for jobs in the UK, subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit the notification so that when I upload those videos, you will see them and then watch them. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.